The spat between Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane and Thuli Madonsela continues over a deduction from Madonsela's pension. Emerging farmers have received a boost from the World Bank with a R1 billion injection. It's Friday. Hello and welcome to it. You're watching eNews Direct. I'm Busisiwe Mkhwebane.
And I'm Sandile Gangqose. Good evening.
To comment on any of our stories, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct.
And tonight our hashtags are Thuli Madonsela and Mahlangu.
A war of words has erupted between former Public Protector Thuli Madonsela and her successor, Busisiwe Mkhwebane. At issue is the more than 470,000 rand that Madonsela says was illegally deducted from her pension. Mkhwebane says the figure includes the cost of repairs done to Madonsela's official car after her son crashed it and the cost of using the vehicle after her term ended. According to Mkhwebane's spokesperson, the office's CEO warned Madonsela in writing that there would be a cost if the car was not returned. Madonsela says the police's VIP protection unit gave her permission to continue using the car. She added that last year the Auditor General found she's not liable for the damages to the car and she had not given her son permission to drive it before his accident in 2013. Mkhwebane said yesterday that the money had been deducted in the spirit of good governance.
Remember, we're dealing with taxpayers' money. Therefore, that amount needed to be paid. And we're still engaging state attorney to advise as well whether, because we've kept only a few amount, is not what is mentioned in UH, until the matter is resolved. So this is done in the spirit of good governance and making sure that we are not finding ourselves to be on the wrong side of the law when we are being audited.
Former Gauteng Health MEC Thuli Madonsela has gone underground. Efforts to reach her have been unsuccessful. This after an explosive report fingered her in the deaths of 94 mentally ill patients.
So, what happened?
Madonsela promised to leave no stone unturned, claiming the death toll stood at 36. She was wrong.
One death is one too many, and we'll continue to be concerned about that. And that's what I think I want to leave it at. We're working with different experts to look into the files and to understand where we've been allowed to do postmortem, to do those postmortem, so that we can get to the bottom of what is happening.
Fast forward to this week, and the MEC has resigned. And it's clear many more lives were lost. But tough questions still loom large. Where is Thuli Madonsela? The disgraced former health MEC has been missing in action since her abrupt resignation. Her resignation letter says that she regrets the loss of life. She's also sent condolences to the bereaved families. But whether she will face them is another question still left unanswered. If she does, there are pressing questions she needs to answer. Why, for instance, were the concerns of the families and experts ignored about what's been described as a rushed and careless decision to move patients from life esidimeni? And why didn't she ensure the facilities they were moved to were up to scratch? But perhaps most challenging of all, how does she feel knowing that 94 patients died in inhumane ways on her watch? Lorenzo Temba, Pretoria.
Meanwhile, the Gauteng provincial government says it's looking for suitable facilities for the mentally ill patients who need to be moved from NGOs named in the Health Ombudsman's report.
Last year, in an effort to save money, the Gauteng Department of Health decided to move patients with mental illnesses from Life esidimeni. 94 of them died after being transferred to NGOs. A report by the Health Ombudsman has revealed that some of these places were not only inadequately equipped, they were also not licensed. The offices of the Premier and the Department of Health are busy conducting visits to the NGOs.
We were not really going there to inspect the NGOs, but this is an exercise to establish the number of people who are being cared for in the NGOs. Those people who are currently in the NGOs need to be moved to much safer places. And so this is a task that is being carried out urgently.
It is unclear if patients will be sent back to Life Esidimeni.
The preference is to find the places within state facilities, but we are not going to limit the search to state facilities.
Masebe says it will take about a week to find suitable places. He expects to meet the 45-day deadline set by the Health Ombudsman to relocate all patients. Lindwe Sitole, Johannesburg.
Let's focus on to other news now. And the man who handed himself over for the murder of Pretoria teen Annika Smith has been denied bail. Andre van Wyk, arrested last September, now claims he was coerced into making the confession.
It's almost 7 years since the murder and rape of 17-year-old Annika Smith in her father's house in the north of Pretoria. She was sexually assaulted and her hands were cut off. Although Andre van Wyk handed himself into the police, he now claims his family was threatened and he was therefore forced to admit to the murder. Magistrate Wessel said in his ruling that given his confession to the police, a magistrate as well as a cellmate in the police holding cells, the state has a strong case. But Wessels did point out that while there was DNA found at the scene, Van Wyk could not be linked to it.
Ek sê nie u skuldig of onskuldig nie, maar op hierdie stadium is ek 100% oortuig dat die staat wel 'n goeie saak het teen u, meneer. Waaroor u beslis sal moet gaan antwoord in 'n verhoorhof.
His lawyer says they will study the judgment.
Before we consider our next step, we will first obtain a copy of his judgment, study it, consult, and then take instructions on the next step.
The case has been postponed to 4 April for further investigation and for the indictment to be served on Van Wyk. Gerard Pretorius, Pretoria.
Anglican Bishop of Cape Town, Thuli Madonsela, has broken his silence about a Cape Town man who is accused of abusing teenage boys in the United Kingdom. Madonsela's office was alerted to the man's activities in 2013 by the Bishop of Ely in England. The allegations emerged after a 6-month investigation by UK Channel 4 News.
He is a British lawyer and the founder of a Cape Town-based justice organisation. Now the man, who had close ties with the Church of England, is accused of horrifically beating over 20 teenage boys in the 1970s and 1980s.
The allegations emerged in a documentary in the UK called An Ungodly Crime. Victims who came forward say they were beaten with thousands of lashings while attending Christian holiday camps. The man, who chaired an Anglican organisation in the UK, was also accused of similar acts in Zimbabwe. And then he moved to Cape Town, campaigning through the courts and Parliament for moral and Christian values, especially for young children. Anglican Bishop Thuli Madonsela confirmed that a letter was sent in 2013 flagging some of these accusations.
Since Mr. alleged offences did not take place in the jurisdiction of the church in Southern Africa. And when I received the letter, we did not know his whereabouts. And so we, as the bishops, took that letter as a cautionary notice.
He says the man was an ordinary worshipper at church, making him difficult to track.
The South African Police Services cannot confirm if the man is involved in any crimes locally, and the National Prosecuting Authority says it hasn't received any extradition requests. RT Narsi, Cape Town.
News from beyond our borders. Angola's President José Eduardo dos Santos has confirmed he will not be running for president in this year's elections. The decision brings to an end his 38 years as head of state. Defense Minister João Lourenço has been named as ruling MPLA party presidential candidate in the August elections. Dos Santos will, however, retain control of the ruling party. Now, that means he retains sweeping powers, including the choosing of parliamentary candidates and the appointment of top posts in the army and police. A French soldier has shot and wounded a man armed with a machete and carrying 2 bags as he tried to enter the Louvre Museum in Paris. The government says it appeared to have been a terrorist attack. The man reportedly shouted, "God is great" in Arabic as he rushed at security officials near the museum's shopping mall. His 2 bags were inspected and no explosives were found. Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Communications says it wants Communications Minister Faith Muthambi to explain why the SABC's decided to appeal a court ruling on Hlaudi Motsoeneng. In December, the Western Cape High Court set aside Motsoeneng's appointment as Group Executive of Corporate Affairs. It said the appointment was unlawful and irrational. In the absence of a non-executive board at the SABC, the Portfolio Committee says the Communications Minister will have to explain why the broadcaster found it difficult to implement the ruling. And Lily Mine has cancelled a remembrance service for 3 mine workers who died on site last year. Their bodies were never recovered. The mine says it's been receiving threats that the ceremony would be disrupted. A shaft collapsed on the 5th of February last year, trapping 87 miners below the surface. Most were rescued. And a reminder, if you've missed any of the stories we're tracking for you tonight, you can of course find us on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct. Or you can head on over to our website. That's enca.com/direct. After the break, your business news as well as your weekend weather forecast. In money matters, the World Bank has approved a loan of over R1 billion to help grow emerging farmers. It's the first of its kind for South Africa's agricultural sector, supporting previously disadvantaged farmers wanting to become commercial enterprises. They're hoping the new investment approach will create jobs while reducing poverty and inequality.
Nurturing fragile crops is hard work, but attracting investment could be harder than toiling in the sun. Farmers need collateral to secure long-term funding, allowing them to expand into the broader economy. But now the World Bank is promising over R1 billion to the Land Bank, specifically to benefit these emerging farmers.
And so if I give you an example, let's say there's a supermarket chain that's interested in increasing its supply of locally sourced fruit and vegetables. Emerging farmers that are interested in getting financing are able to do so, for example, could do so based on on the back of contracts with these retailers. And as part of the packaging solution, retailers would also provide advice to these farmers, what crops to grow, what inputs to provide, harvesting techniques, marketing, business plans.
The National Development Plan aims to create 11 million jobs by 2030. 1 million of those will come from agriculture, with small-scale farmers making up about 1/3 of those jobs. To support that goal, the World Bank is making available nearly R1.25 billion to the Land Bank Financial Intermediation Project. The loan consists of a line of credit for agricultural financing. It will support the Land Bank, providing wholesale finance to integrate emerging farmers into established value chains in a sustainable and financially viable manner. A new approach to financing that puts big money behind smaller projects. John Bailey, Pretoria.
All right, let's see how the markets perform today. Here's Joel Guy with all your weather details.
Welcome to the Weather Center. We are seeing on our latest satellite picture this thick band of storm clouds that has been giving us very unsettled weather throughout Friday across the Northern Cape, pushing down into parts of the Eastern Cape. We also have very active storm systems sweeping across the northwest and also spilling into the Gauteng province. Now, we are going to stay with this unsettled weather throughout the night as we head into Saturday. On Saturday, we start off the day with a bit of drizzle over the Mpumalanga and Limpopo escarpment areas. Light rain is also forecast early early in the morning for the southwest coastline. The rest of the country is going to see scattered to widespread thunderstorms starting early, and you will need to watch out for heavy rains in these areas highlighted here across central South Africa. We also have this cold front which hits our shores as we go through Saturday night. KwaZulu-Natal stays mostly sunny and sizzling hot for the eastern parts of the province. The rest of the province is going to see isolated to scattered thunder showers. Pretty unsettled weather is forecast across the Eastern Cape, where warm to hot afternoon temperatures are forecast in most areas. We are going to see light rain and drizzle for the south coast as well as the southwest coastline of the Western Cape, particularly for the first half of the day. The rest of the province is going to be partly cloudy and dry. Thunder showers are said to persist for the eastern half of the Northern Cape. The showers are going to be scattered around Kimberley, where a mild 22 is forecast for the top temperature. Mild afternoon temperatures are also forecast for the western parts of the Free State, where widespread thunderstorms are expected. We are going to have isolated to scattered thunderstorms across much of the northwest. Rustenburg stays dry with a high of around 29 degrees. A dry Saturday is forecast across much of the Limpopo province. A high of 27 is forecast for Polokwane. No rain is also forecast across the Mpumalanga province. It's going to be hot for Mbombela, making it to around 32 degrees. Much of Gauteng is also going to see dry weather with partly cloudy skies, but showers are possible for the southern sections. On Sunday, we should see isolated to scattered thunderstorms across much of the interior, light rain for parts of the south coast. We start the coming week with passing showers across much of the interior.
Thank you, Joel. It's arguably the biggest sporting event of the year. The Super Bowl takes place on Sunday in the US. The Super Bowl, America's most watched sports event, it takes place this Sunday.
Yep, and it's a goldmine for advertisers who get particularly creative around this time in an effort to win over viewers and their hard-earned cash.
The 51st Super Bowl kicks off in Houston, pitting the New England Patriots against the Atlanta Falcons. Last year's game drew 112 million viewers. That massive audience makes the Super Bowl a prime spot for advertisers, who pay as much as 67 million rand for a 30-second spot.
Well, the cost of a Super Bowl ad has gone from 2.5 million in 2010 to over 5 million this year. The price every year keeps going up and up and up.
With that much cash invested in just half a minute, advertisers pull out all the stops to get their money's worth. In keeping with political events, one beer company is telling the story of its founder.
Budweiser is telling the immigrant story in its ad, specifically the story of one of its founders, Adolphus Bush, who immigrated to America. The ad is very moving, very poignant.
And advertisers know celebrities capture attention. Stars like Lady Gaga and Justin Timberlake will feature in some of the ads.
A reminder of your top stories before we say goodbye. The spat between Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane and Thuli Madonsela continues over a deduction from Madonsela's pension. Emerging farmers have received a boost from the World Bank with a 1 billion rand injection. And that's our lot for the week.
On the other side of the break, Rhythm City.
We do love to hear from you. You can send us an email to enewsdirect@etv.co.za.
Oh, of course, you can just talk to us on Twitter and Facebook, and our handle is @enewsdirect.
Until Monday night, have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.